Welcome back to the 6 a.m. Club where we start our day inspired. This week, I have something slightly different than what we typically do here. Typically, I bring you a quote of the day, we reflect on the quote, and we end up with a call to action. And today, I don't have any quote for you, but I do have a learning, a realization, an aha moment that I had this week while I was running on my treadmill. I like to exercise every day as part of my morning routine, and I try to combine lifting weights and cardio. And for cardio, I typically use my treadmill and I jog in the mornings. And this week, maybe because I've been talking about some of these analogies here on the Leading Yourself podcast, I was running, and you know how in any cardio type of equipment, whether you have a treadmill or an elliptical or a stationary bike or any other cardio equipment, there's always some indicators on your screen. One of them is time. And you can look at time from two different perspectives. You can look at the time elapsed, meaning the time that you have been working out, or you can look at the time remaining, meaning how much time there's left to finish the workout. And I would like to ask you, what kind of person are you? Are you the type of person that focuses on the time elapsed or the time remaining? And here's where the realization came to me. I noticed that I have a pattern. And this pattern I have seen not only when I'm on the treadmill, but when I'm doing other things as well that have nothing to do with working out, sports, or any of that. And here is my pattern. And maybe you can relate to this, and maybe your pattern is different. Today, I'm going to invite you to reflect on what is your behavioral pattern whenever you are either on a race or working on a project or looking to achieve a goal. Here is mine. I notice that when I'm on the treadmill and I'm running, I am focusing on the time elapsed, meaning how much progress I've made. For me, if I focus from the very beginning of my workout on the time remaining, it's very overwhelming. I start the negative self-talk in my head that I'm not going to finish, and I'm kind of dreading the run when I'm looking at how much time I have left. Instead, when I focus on how much time I have already been running, that gives me motivation to keep going because it makes me feel proud of myself. It makes me feel strong. It makes me feel empowered. And it's more motivating for me to keep running when I focus on how much progress I've already made. Now, there is a time, and it varies every time, of course, but because also every workout might be of a different length, but there is a time when I'm on my treadmill. And just to give you some context, my morning routine happens before my kids even wake up. So I do my morning routine, and right after I finish exercising, I go wake up my kids, get them ready, and off the door to school. So at one point, I switch to looking from the time elapsed to the time remaining. Typically, when I feel like, oh my God, I'm going to be late, and all these things come to my mind of, I don't have enough time, I'm going to be late, I need to hurry up, and then I switch to the time remaining. And here's the thing that I've noticed as well. When there is like 5 minutes left, or around 5 minutes left, I realize that I am so close from that finish line that I want to keep going. I am motivated to keep going. It's hard. Like, there's battle in my head on, do I run and get my kids ready or do I finish? I'm so close. I do want to finish this workout. I want to see it through. And I keep going for the remaining whatever minutes are left. Now, if I do that and there's like 20 minutes left, I would immediately stop and get going with my day, right? So this happened this week. Both scenarios happened this week when I was running on the treadmill. And it led me to think about this topic of motivation and perspective and everything that we've been talking recently on the podcast around being in this last stretch towards the end of the year. And I've seen this pattern manifest in other things that I do. For example, when I'm working on a project or a task, right? I am focused on, a lot of times when I'm reflecting on the project, I'm focused on all the things that I've already done, and that's what I talk to other people. In my conversations, I talk about, these are all the things that we've done, this is how much progress we've made, and that helps me feel motivated and empowered to continue going. And then at one point, I flip, right? Because maybe I'm tired or it's been a long time working on the same project. And I start to focus on, okay, what do we have left to finish this? What will it take to take it to that finish line? Anyways, I thought I would share because I think that this is a really powerful tool. There are many things that are out of our control, but there are a few things that are completely under our control. Our perspective, our focus, our energy, those are things that we can control. And if you think about this that I just share and you figure out what are your patterns of perspective around the things that are in front of you, whether it's a project at work, whether it is running on your treadmill or exercising or your elliptical, or you're trying to lose weight. That's another great example, right? Do you focus on how much weight you've already lost and that gives you the motivation to keep going? Or are you focusing on how much weight you have left to lose? And depending on what perspective you take, you might feel motivated to keep going, or you might feel defeated and encouraged to stop and give up. And playing out with your perspective can help you stay more focused on your journey, whatever your journey is, and more motivated to keep going. So, my lesson learned here is I can control my perspective and I can use that on my advantage to keep me going on the things that are important to me. I can use that shift in perspective on looking things from how much progress I've made or how far I am from the finish line to help me stay motivated and actually cross that finish line, if that is something that is important to me. So that's what I have for you today. I hope this was at least interesting, and if not, at least it gets you thinking of what is your approach to things. Where do you focus your perspective and how your motivation shifts depending on what you're focusing on. I hope you enjoyed this podcast today. I will see you here next week for another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. And until then, have an amazing day.